Think it's about time you left the saloon, stranger. Now I know what you're thinking, partner. What's a mountain man, a gambler, and a bandito god that can threaten the largest gang in the territory? But you needn't worry about the details. You'll do just fine sending a message to your boss in
5D. I feel like maybe that's a Red Dead thing.
Either that or the board game
Shadows
we're
of Brimstone.
playing. It's a Shadows of Brimstone thing. Yeah. See, you moved, so you don't get to play, bitch.
Oh, look how sorry I am about that.
Oh, you will be. You will be.
Are we all gonna lean into the microphone and talk in a more gravelly, whispery voice?
That's what you want.
This summer.
This summer! A once-in-a-lifetime event!
No, we do this every week.
Yeah, we do.
All right, welcome to the next episode of 5D Podcast. How's everybody feeling?
It's not the... Welcome to the current episode of the 5D Podcast.
Well, I said next because it's not the last one.
But it's also not the next one, because the next one is going to be the next one.
It's the next one from the last one.
You assume that people listen to more than one of these.
Welcome to the 5D Podcast.
Yay!
And so this weekend was kind of a blur for me. I spent...
Well, let's introduce ourselves.
No,
I'm Klops.
we don't do
and
that
right
anymore.
Next to me is over there is Devin, and below me, which might not be below me.
Yeah, that's not how it shows up.
Yeah,
is
you're
Eduardo.
wrong on both. Wrong
No.
on both.
Yeah,
That's okay.
The way that it works is Bonsai's up top,
Woo!
Klops is on bottom.
Yay!
And that's completely random. However, our video chat app decides to just kind of put us together. I'm not saying their name because they're not sponsoring us.
Oh, take that.
Yeah, take
Company that my brother-in-law works at.
that. Broom, broom.
I'll work with him. We'll get a sponsorship. This will happen.
Oh, dude, that'd be hilarious.
They'll want our leagues of... they'll want our one listener. I mean, who doesn't want J-Beebs on their product?
J Beebs, don't forget about Binary. J Beebs and Binary.
Oh, that's true, too. We're up to 2 listeners, guys.
We are
in
up
the
to 2
last
listeners.
3 years of doing this podcast? Off and
Since
on?
I
like
joined.
that.
It was since I joined.
That's what it is. That's what got
Oh,
the
yeah,
second guy in there.
Yeah.
Okay, so like I was saying, this weekend I honest to God just sank most of my time playing Diablo 3 on the Switch.
Yep.
It came
Bro.
in, and for the viewers on the streamer who are watching the recording, and it's right here. Look at that. Look at that Diablo-ness. Oh, it's literally just one
half of
decal.
a symbol.
It's literally
that
just
was
one
my
decal.
issue. Is I was like, I get that the space is cramped and but like, there was room to do more. The Switch branding is just as big.
Yeah, so what's funny is the case is really cool.
The case is dope.
The case is dope. It comes, it's not super bulky because I used to have the Mario case for the Switch that got stolen. And that one, it was good, but it was bulky. This one's sleek and nice, and the logo's cool. The dock itself has some cool features on it, too. It's got a lot more of the branding and whatever, but that shit sits behind my TV. No one ever sees the fucking dock.
Right.
However, I will say that the bundle was worth it because the Switch by itself with the game would cost the exact same thing, and it came with the case, the game, and a bunch of downloadable stuff.
Yeah.
So totally worth it. I've also literally sunk, if I'm not sleeping or drinking, chores aside, I am playing Diablo 3 on the Switch. It's good stuff. Spent Veterans Day mostly booze and playing Diablo 3. It was wonderful. So,
Yay! I think I worked. I've been working intensely the last 2 weeks.
Do you not remember?
It's all kind of a blur. Although Wednesday was a goth show that I worked, and I drank copious amount of tequila, and it was nice.
Nice.
As
Okay,
you should.
so
You
tell
deserve
us, tell us normies, like I'm a fucking normie, what happens at a goth show?
Tell us, normies, what happens on tequila?
Well, they like lots of blue and red dramatic lighting. Mostly blue because blue is supposed to make
I was
you
about to
sad,
say that
but
also
I
sounds like the 4th of July. Go on.
I don't really know if blue really truly makes you sad. I don't really care when it's lighting. And they wanted a shit ton of smoke and haze, and each of them except for the first act, the opener act, had a piece of paper with what songs they had, the BPMs, and what they wanted to happen in those songs, which is mostly like fog.
I was kind of hoping it was more like existential than that, like what they wanted to happen during that song. Like during this song, I really hope a crow shits on a man's Mercedes, while in the background a young girl cries about her father who's a
And I couldn't
because
do
it's
that
a
as
goth
lighting
show, and I
anyway.
was really hoping that there was just more
Oh,
to it.
I even took it more stereotypical. It was like, when we hit this note, the devil will appear and blow one of us.
Oh, I wish those were the things. This is a goth show, not a metal show.
I want the crowd to
best
break down
show.
the pool of sadness.
Best show, hands down, that I have witnessed while my time at DNA was my first shift I ever did. They stuck me on side door, and it was during a black metal concert, and they had Watain and Mayhem
Oh, that's
as
pretty
two
cool.
of the bands. And for those of you who don't know, Mayhem is the band that one of their guitarists or band members or whoever it was committed suicide, and they used his actual picture as an album cover.
And part of the
there's more
skull,
to it.
too. Yeah, it's a
They
whole thing.
also had a member who killed another member to prove that he was more evil than the member who killed himself.
And then he also scooped out his brains and ate it. He made
There-
it into a stew.
The lead singer
anyway.
himself also used to take a knife and jam it in his ribs on stage because apparently he learned where he could put a knife into his body without hitting organs and could just sew it up himself.
So here's the other fun part. I didn't recognize who it was half the time
Oh,
because I
that's
was brand new. And it was the lead singer, I think, of Watain or Mayhem. I think it was Mayhem, actually. And I asked to see his wristband or whatever it was to come in.
Did he
and
cut
just
you?
looked at me like he was going to set me on fire, and then proceeded to show me his past and then walk by. However, during the show, they actually burned goat's blood and wafted it through the lounge.
Oh, that cannot have smelled good.
Oh, it smelled fantastic.
Also, that can't
Really?
be
I
sanitary.
loved it. Not everyone loved it. I had people coming out going, "This fucking smells horrible in there," and you could like taste the like copper from the blood.
Oh God!
And they were having a whole like satanic black ritual on stage, and
like
it
you
was
do.
fucking magical. Hands down, best metal show I have seen so far. All other metal shows that I've seen, I'm like, you're not burning goat's blood and doing satanic rituals on stage. So I guess you're okay though.
You know,
So
I'm willing to bet though that Satan does not like them. He goes, those guys are tryhards. At least the goths have a sense of style.
So,
Eh.
speaking of goth club, though, just a little like Eduardo will remember this. So we have one friend in our friend group who is just super into like the bondage club scene.
Oh, yeah.
like,
Wait,
that's
that
his
wasn't a goth club, right? That was an S&M
I'm-
club.
When
They cross paths. We have one down here called Cat Club that is both. It's,
Oh,
I
actually,
wasn't gonna plug it,
only-
but that's
that,
the exact
that's
club
the
that
exact
we
same
went
one,
to.
except on certain weeknights they call it bag.
oh,
Yeah, bondage
yeah.
and go-go.
Okay,
So
I know who you're talking about.
we had a member of our group who was really into it and was like, no, but like at the end of the day, it's still just a dance club.
Yeah.
There's still just booze and whatever. Like come out and hang out. So we were like, all right, like we like that kind of music and stuff. At the time we did. The bondage stuff is maybe not our gig, but we're not offended by it. Let's go and check it
Yeah,
out.
nobody
And
cares.
I think all three of us ended up sitting in the smoking room. And since it's California, the smoking room is like a glass box with like people smoking cigarettes. And in this case, just angry goth kids smoking cigarettes. And I think we all sat in the smoking room and watched Orgasmo on the TV in the smoking room the entire night.
That must have been a long time ago because they don't have the glass room anymore.
all of
this
us
is years
except
ago.
for
Yeah.
one.
Except for one. Yeah.
He was out there doing his thing, and here's the weird part: the music wasn't even what we were used to.
Yeah, like
It
we
was
were kind
all-
of like Bondage Club. We were like, all right, it's gonna be like Bodum and Dahlia, metal music.
It was a whole lot more of like
No,
Voltaire and shit.
It's
Yeah.
it's a lot more industrial.
No, it wasn't even that.
No.
It was like
Well, nowadays it's a lot more
So-
industrial music. Than
so-
happens in
Susie
it.
and the Banshees, Voltaire.
Yeah, dude, it
like-
was a whole lot of more music that you can dance like this. Just give me a sec.
yeah, like Enya meets Morrissey.
You haven't seen the goth chicks do the like picking the cobwebs?
Yeah, no, exactly.
Yeah,
I
and it's
know
all
folks
this, like,
on the
weird
audio that
wavy
couldn't see
arm
that.
stuff. Just so people listening, it's this weird wavy arm, like my body is a fluid, kind of like,
Yeah.
and it is what It was weird. It was weird.
For the folks on the audio, the best way I can describe it is take your finger and then try to trace the outline of your body, and that's the dance.
that's kind of one of them, you know.
Yeah.
I know the ones you're talking about. They're still very
it
much
wasn't our jam, is all we're saying. Like, it was cool, and it wasn't even like, I don't know, in your head, you build up something like a bondage club, like, you know, dudes getting their nuts stomped on and crazy nip. And
that's different. That's not a
really
bondage club. That's the sadist thing.
What I'm saying is, this is this kind of thing you build up in your head, though. If Hollywood were to remake the story I just told now, it would be a fucking nightmare circus.
Dude.
And honestly, this was literally a dance floor, a bar, and then a small section of the dance floor with like a rack and a chick with a really, really soft pussy ass whip.
Yeah.
Like, we're not talking like, it wasn't Starship Troopers and nobody was getting their back busted open with this thing. It was
dude.
I don't think most.
All I gotta say is
it's a flogger.
It's a weak, wimpy little whip, and then they had one guy with like an electric. They called it an electric rod, and in my brain, I was like, so he's gonna hit him with a cattle prod. No, it's like, just think of like one of those little the little orbs with the lightning running through it. You put your finger on it, looks crazy. It's kind of like that with lesser glass, so you can get a little bit more of the tingle. And that was the Bondage Club, and we were like, I'm gonna go have a stove and watch Orgasmo. This is cool.
There was a lot more whipping and spanking when me growing up as a child in a Mexican household than that club. I'm just saying.
At the same time, though, they're very much a community and not like because what it is, they toned it a lot like a way down because they would keep getting people that came in that weren't just there for like the event and to be a part of the community. They were there for to watch a freak show. Like, they were there to be entertained, so they started implementing a lot more it's kind of like a light BDSM and casual play.
Well,
so and this is just like what people really need to start getting whelmed with is like, I realize most people are not going to go to a furry convention. It's not super common where it's like most people do that. Most people don't do that. But let me whelm you for this crazy thing called furries. And again, I'm not a furry, but this is just most of these weird niche things. The idea you have built up in your head. Most furry conventions is a bunch of people who look like mascots having conversations.
Yep.
It's not weird sex stuff and debauchery and people rolling around in filth. And,
well, that's not the convention part of it.
Okay, I mean, what happens in the hotel in a couple of rooms... Maybe, but even at the after party, it's that same thing.
Yeah, no.
People in mascot uniforms on a dance floor.
So the official after parties and the official events are usually just that. Remember, I used to work downtown in a city that hosted one of these, and I worked in a hotel, so we got a lot of the folks. But I will say there is weird stuff that does happen in the unofficial parties and in the hotel rooms and stuff like that. But it's not to the extent where people get all crazy about it. It's just people doing what they enjoy doing, like no judgment. Even when we were going to what we were talking about the club there, it was more like, yeah, there was a morbid curiosity. I'd never been to one of those kinds of places, but it wasn't like freak show status. Sure, I wanted to see what went down, but we weren't there like, oh, you guys are freaks. We're just like, okay, well, what does actually happen to these places? And there's gonna be booze,
and mostly there was just booze.
Yeah.
A lot of conversating, a lot of booze, and then some light flogging in the background.
Yeah,
right. And then like, it's there are places you can go for crazy shit. Just 90% of the crazy shit you think is happening is actually not that thing. And that's for most like small countercultures. This was a really huge departure from Klopp's working at a goth show this weekend. We've really just
well, I mean, it's all played a part of it, man. Like, I've been a part of the scene for like 4 years now, and it's kind of fun. Like, I don't know, it's a lot more underwhelming for me because I'm used to it. But then when you think back on like all the shit, or when I think back on all the shit that I've done and seen and did, and I tell other people that aren't you guys, because you guys have also experienced a lot in life.
People get weirded out.
They get mind blown.
Yeah.
You know, Like, what?
Yeah, no, trust me.
Like when I was working in Redwood City, and like the crew that I was working with down there, I casually mentioned Folsom Street because they casually mentioned it or whatever. You know,
What, are you talking about the Folsom Street Fair?
Yeah. And
Oh yeah,
like,
that shit gets weird too.
Like they're just like, what? Like
Yeah.
they're fucking just all mind blown. You
No,
know.
I remember one year at the fair there was a live birth just out there. It's just happening.
Sweet.
Yeah.
This
I'm
is what
sure.
we're doing. And the only thing in my head was like that can't be sanitary, right?
Yeah. Man, that's probably not.
Like that kid's gonna have immunodeficiencies.
Maybe.
Wow.
Okay, so other than Klopp's working at a goth club this weekend, I actually saw a very, very weird movie, and I don't want to open with my rating because I want to talk about it first. And it's actually called not that one.
He even just looked it up, but this movie's so bad. Literally 10 minutes
it's
ago, he
called-
looked up the name of this movie, and it's already
called
gone from his mind.
Bleeding Still. The first graphic was a mistake. So here's
Oh God! From this
So,
does not look good.
I picked this graphic specifically because it encompasses how weird it is. But on the I think it's Netflix. On the Netflix description in the picture, it just has Jackie Chan with a gun doing like a ninja pose. And if you look closer,
and that's all I needed to get sold on this.
no. And the description was Jackie Chan faces off against a very weird villain that's trying to kidnap his daughter. And that was pretty much, obviously I'm paraphrasing, but that was the description.
I was gonna say I'm actually more into this movie if they use the phrase "a real weird villain."
Oh,
Yeah,
but it was
super
something
weird.
like that. Anyways,
Strange all the way.
yeah. So anyways, first scene, it's him in like a Volkswagen, just nondescript SUV, and he's driving ferociously while on the phone, and then there's all kinds of exposition. And one of my favorite parts of the shots, the way that they did them, was they focused a lot on footwork in the vehicles and handwork, but these cars are fucking automatics. So it's not like they're showing them shifting. It's like, oh, you're accelerating faster? You're already okay, whatever. But anyways, and then it comes out they're escorting someone, some doctor person thing that invented a MacGuffin. And then the next scene is they get assaulted by dudes in fucking like futuristic battle armor. Like,
Right.
yeah, like totally out of nowhere. They were kind of Tron-esque. They had these backpacks and they were shooting guns that shot kind of like laser bullets. And one guy had the main villain. He actually looked like the bad guy from Blade 2.
Electric Boogaloo.
Yeah. No, do you remember the dude, like,
Yeah, he had the open mouth face.
the open mouth face? So he looked just the complexion
open
like,
face mouth? Open face mouth, I think maybe is closer.
I think they're called mandibles, but sure.
Not when it's that guy.
But he was completely bald and gray face. You see him in the graphic here.
Yeah.
And he was
No, it looks like if that guy and like Battlefield Earth had a baby.
sure. So this is the later scenes, because at first he doesn't have the cyborg eye looking thing, and he starts.
Oh, that's a development from the film and not just a stylistic choice.
yes, exactly.
Good. Good.
So at one point he starts one-handed firing off a grenade launcher, and not like the Vietnam grenade launchers where you could potentially do that. No, like
The six-cylinder one.
yeah, the one with the 6-cylinder, and he's just blowing shit up, and a whole lot more unrealistic shit happens, and here's the part, the thing. So far up until this point, I was like, it's a Jackie Chan movie, slightly techie. Okay, cool. I am with this. The
Is
action,
this a newer one?
yeah, came out last year, I
2017.
believe.
Oh.
Yeah, I know. And I was with him. I was like, okay, I can do a little lasers, and maybe you got some Tron armor. I'm I can be with it. Well, let's keep on going. The fight scenes were well choreographed as usual for a Jackie Chan film. He gets knocked through a bunch of shit as usual for a Jackie Chan film. And then I look down because I'm still playing my Switch, and then I look up and there's a spaceship, and that is where they just completely lost me. Just done. I mean, I watched the rest of it because I was hanging out with folks, but I was just like, there's nothing that this movie can do to redeem itself from here on out. Because it wasn't even like a lead-in. It wasn't like everyone has spaceships. It was just this one dude that had this like spaceship thing. And he wasn't an alien. But anyways, so it's one of those movies that is terribly good in the sense that none of this shit made any goddamn sense.
It's just a beautiful train wreck happening before your eyes.
The action set pieces were great. I will say that there was a scene where they're fighting some gangsters, and they think gangsters are a lot more fluorescent and colorful. It like their graffiti was like bright greens and yellows and shit, but it was like,
you haven't heard of Raber gangs, bro?
It was, yeah, right. It was everywhere. It was like, do you guys remember the Double Dragon?
Yes.
Remember?
It's the Lee brothers, Ugg and Home. Ugly, homely.
Anyways,
It's the only part of that movie worth taking away.
the graffiti in those scenes was super colorful and like crazy done up. Same kind of thing. It was like, man, the future really likes fucking fluorescence and neon colors. And
well, fun fact, my favorite color to put on the walls in the nightclub is purple because it makes it look like that futuristic dystopian bullshit.
Okay, so let me just not explain, but there was one scene where it isn't Jackie Chan fighting. It's one of the other characters fighting. He's fighting the same gangsters, and the girl comes in to save him. And what she does is she starts spraying them with spray paint in the eyes. So she gets through 3 dudes, and the third dude is looking away. So she taps his shoulder. He's wearing sunglasses, and apparently they were like, we gotta explain how she gonna get him. He lifts up his sunglasses and goes, huh? When she gets his attention, so she can spray him in the face with fucking spray paint. Like, this is fucking ridiculous. All right, the MacGuffin is a heart that's bionic and atomic. They have special blood that it creates that gives you regenerative powers. I'm only explaining this because there's a ridiculous scene towards the end where Jackie Chan has thrown the main villain into this kind of lava hole or fire hole, as one does have in the middle of a spaceship.
The reactor.
Sure. It was in the lab, so maybe, but it was this hole, and the bottom of it was like a pool of flaminess, and he's thrown it, and the bad guy is holding him by his arm. So then a big chunk of the ceiling falls and takes his arm off, and the bad guy falls into the pool of whatever. And then they go and they're trying to escape because, of course, the spaceship's blowing up for fucking reasons. They never really went into it. And they're trying to go. There's only so many parachutes, so the cop lady and his daughter strap into just the one, and he Spartan kicks them out of the fucking hatch. Because he's like, just go, because the bad guy makes a resurgence, and he like Spartan kicks him. I'm like, you know, it's going to be really hard for them to breathe when you just broke at least 2 or 3 of their fucking ribs. Mr. Jackie Chan. Anyways, so he's missing an arm at this point. Just stay with me. The bad guy has him from behind, and then Jackie Chan remembers that he got injected with some of that special blood. And he regrows his motherfucking arm in like 5 seconds. But it didn't happen. It didn't start happening before. It was only when he remembered. Fucking mental powers and shit. And he regrows his arm and he wins the fight. Okay. This movie is just ridiculous in general. There was a thing.
Does it feel like it was intended to be ridiculous?
It feels like Jackie Chan is pulling a Nicolas Cage. Where
Oh, wow.
he's just kind of taking any roles. And again, Jackie Chan was Jackie Chan. His acting was on par. Some of the other characters' acting was on par. The two young leads were just terrible. But hey,
American film, Chinese film?
I'm pretty sure this was a Chinese film.
Okay.
Because there was a whole lot of dubbing,
Okay.
and not even the wub 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 kind of way. But anyways, here's the one thing I'm gonna end the review with this. They name dropped Jackie Chan 3 times in dialogue in the movie. Really? Yeah, like at one point they go, "Who do you think you are?" Jackie Chan. Like, so this added to the ridiculousness of it. I hope they weren't trying to be serious. I hope this was supposed to be just sci-fi B-movie drivel. But if they were, oh my god. I don't even know how to rate this. I give this, I would say 2 low-budget Chinese films out of 5 low-budget Chinese films.
Ouch.
Yeah, not great. I like Jackie Chan in almost anything he does, so even I liked him. He was on point. But there were many times where there were 3 of us watching. At one point or another, in a different scene, one of us went, "What? Fucking what?" So there's my review.
So there was a movie I was going to review, but then I remembered there's a thing I saw today that absolutely just needs to be discussed.
Ruh-roh.
And we didn't discuss discussing it, but it needs to be, and I hope you guys have seen this.
Go on.
You guys see the Detective Pikachu trailer?
Okay.
No.
I have not. I just saw a bunch of memes about it. And here's the thing. My wife actually played through Detective Pikachu on the 3DS.
Okay.
So she probably knows more about this than I do. But if I remember, that one was a little creepy. Does everybody remember the premise of the original Detective Pikachu?
No.
Yes.
Okay, please, Bonsai, please explain it.
So the game is a game that takes place in the Pokemon universe. This isn't like one Pikachu in a land of people. No, it's in the legit Pokemon universe. And basically, a guy stumbles upon a Pikachu that he can understand speaking English, but nobody else can. So it's not even like Meowth, where it just talks normally to everybody. Everybody else hears the thing going, Pika, Pika, Pika. But he hears this kind of surly, sassy detective, and he's going and helping this Pikachu solve different crimes.
I was almost really hoping that it would be just like a Pikachu in a world filled with like humans and like being like really gritty and be like, no one knows this town like I do.
Oh, see, I was from the beginning. I was really hoping for the opposite because that's what I thought it was. I was like, that's just really jarring and dumb.
I think
Why?
it'd be great just to see like this Pikachu speaking in English, like this like really cold-hearted detective,
So
really McGruff.
watch the trailer, form your own opinion based on your level of interest. And like, if somebody were to look at this and just be like, I have no frame of reference, I'm not a fan, I don't get it, I'm out. Totally understood. Totally couldn't blame you. But Ryan Reynolds is playing Detective Pikachu
Wait, in the game or in the preview?
in the movie. The movie, it's Ryan Reynolds playing Pikachu.
Wait, they're making a movie out of this game?
A trailer is out for the movie.
Sorry,
Is it
I
just
thought
him in a
I thought the
Pikachu outfit
trailer
with, like,
was
really shitty
dude.
paint?
I thought the trailer was for the next game. It's
So-
a movie.
So, Detective Pikachu the movie, voiced by Ryan Reynolds,
Oh my god.
at least written, or at least one draft of the script was written by Alex Hirsch, the guy who did Gravity Falls, and you guys know how fucking hard I am into that show.
Right.
I've been waiting to see what the dude was doing next. Apparently, it's Detective Pikachu, and I really wanted to be like, damn, I'll watch anything Alex Hirsch does. But when I was hearing about this getting made, I was like, I don't know if I give a shit about this. It's a really weird premise.
I don't know. Ryan Reynolds and him doing
Then they
something
cast
sold.
Ryan Reynolds for it. The trailer just hit today, and I gotta say, I have no idea why this movie looks as good as it does. The CG is on point. They didn't go too realistic. They didn't go too cartoony. It's like a CG Pikachu with like a real kid. Like it's like a kid and a CG Pikachu talking like Ryan Reynolds. And there's like scenes where they're in Lavender Town and they're just walking around, and there's like a dude and his Dodrio just like walking around, and again, it's not like hyper realistic, like that's what it would look like. It's a CG Dodrio. It's got feathers, and the feathers look on point. The fuzz on Pikachu looks like fuzz, but it's a Pikachu.
I feel like
At one point, they're questioning. I'm just going to give you a little bit of the trailer just so I can sell you guys and anybody who hasn't seen it by this point, because this won't post till next week. So hopefully everybody will have seen it by then. You can have your own opinion. But there's a whole scene in the trailer where the kid and Pikachu are questioning a Mr. Mime. But it's a Mr. Mime, so it can't even like Mr. Mime, Mr. Mime. It's a Mr. Mime. It mimes. So it's sitting here doing its whole thing, and Detective Pikachu's like, it's this. You're saying this? This is what happened. He got pushed. He was pushed. I'm going to get pushed. You're going to push me? And the kid's finally like, he's telling you to shove off. And then Mr. Mime's like, the kid gets it! And Pikachu gets all pissed and goes to leap at him, and he runs it into an invisible wall. Because one of Mr. Mime's things was the glass shield or whatever it was called. He had a move, I don't remember what it's called.
I think it's
Invisible
called
barrier, glass shield. But his move is to make an invisible barrier. And Pikachu fucking runs into it, and you're like, and there's not like a flash or a shimmer. It runs into an invisible wall. And you're like, yeah, that's exactly how that would look.
Oh my god, this sounds amazing.
okay, so
And it has no reason to.
is it
None.
is it sad that yes, I've always wanted a live action Pokemon movie, and this is how we're getting it?
Well, that's what I was hoping. I was hoping there would be
even
like
worse is it's
Wild Reynolds
working.
and like a fucking Wilson, fucking like attire of Pikachu.
Yeah.
It's a shitty like onesie that has like a fucking face made like that's
you,
what I was hoping.
you wanted the sexy Pikachu Halloween deluxe costume.
I wanted the just shittiest live action version for this to be amazing.
And
you know what?
This is honestly, it's the quality that it needs to be. It looks legitimately funny, and they found a way to make you take the plot and go like, okay, yeah, sure. As long as it's weird for them, it's fine being weird for us.
Yeah.
It just works, and it makes no sense. It makes no sense.
Is this an actual thing that's going to happen, or is this
This
Ryan
is
Reynolds?
a movie. This is a major budget, big production.
Because you
going
know
to
Ryan
happen.
Reynolds likes to troll people.
Yeah, no. This has been in the works for a few years. I've been aware of this since it started. I didn't give a shit before, so I never said anything because I was like, it's not my kind of game. It's not my kind of Pokemon thing. I'm not a diehard Pokemon fan, but like there is Pokemon content that I enjoy. I like the games. The handheld games are great. I don't give a shit about the show. I don't care about the card game. But this is... It works!
Yeah,
Detective Pikachu so far works.
That's so
I'm
fucking
gonna watch
weird.
this train wreck. I'm gonna see it in theaters. I
Yeah.
can't wait.
There is... Watch the trailer. Right now, there's no reason to call it a train wreck. It's a kid's movie. Like, this isn't the next fucking Citizen Kane or anything.
I don't care. I called it a train wreck because it's gonna be beautiful in my mind, regardless of it being bad or good.
I feel like
That's
I'm going to
fair.
forget about this, and when it comes out, and be like, oh!
I think it's soon. This isn't a teaser trailer. This is a trailer.
okay,
The movie's
I'm
coming out.
looking this up. When is this?
I don't know when it's out. It's like next year or so.
February. Wait,
February 2019.
let's see. Detective Pikachu.
That's about right for a
May-
trailer.
May 10th, 2019.
Okay, even that's not. Yeah, no. This is a thing. Yeah, so I had to dump that out there really quick because I remembered that that's the thing. Like, me and my wife watched it on the train on the way home because my brother was like, "Did you hear about this Detective Pikachu?" And I was like, "Yeah, it's been in the works and whatever." And then he's like, "No, trailer." Oh fuck! So me and my wife are like on the light rail watching this trailer on my phone, both
Oh
going,
my god,
"How did
it's
this
got
look this good?"
it's got Ken Watanabe in it. I'm in.
Right? There's no reason to doubt this movie at this point. Like, based on what you've been handed, legit.
I like Ken
So-
Watanabe. All right, I'll see it.
All right. So I kind of wish you guys had already seen it. But yeah, no, definitely watch it. Let me know what you think. So on to what I actually watched as a whole movie. I finally saw A Wrinkle in Time.
Ooh, I don't have a graphic for that one, but yes, tell us about it.
So Wrinkle in Time, based off of a 1960s book.
I will look it
I
up. Keep talking.
Believe it's 1960s. But based off of a 1960s book, finally made into a Disney movie. It's fine.
1962.
Okay, yeah, 1960s book. Yeah, it's fine. Like, I think it did it. Can you pull up the Rotten Tomatoes for me? I think I remember it maybe didn't do bad, but it was underwhelming. Like, this was supposed to be. This is basically John Carter all over again. This was supposed to knock down walls, and it just didn't do it.
I know. See, I didn't even know it was coming out for a long time, and then like somebody started talking about it, and I was like,
Yeah, and suddenly I kind of like the same thing. It was a big build when they announced they were going to make it, and maybe it's just because I don't have traditional cable, but I did not see a lot
It's
of promotion.
42% rotten.
What's that? Can you get the box office mojo it for me? Did it make money? I just want to know if it made. I want to know if this flopped for them, because honestly, I don't think it deserved a flop. But yeah, I can tell you why this wasn't a smash hit. It was. The movie just felt kind of transient. There's a plot, but it's a really small plot that's stretched really long. There's a lot of unused material. There's a lot of things brought up that you can be like, I'm sure they explained this better in the book, and it's just not done here.
It looks like they're not saying what their production budget is.
Ooh, that's never a good sign.
never a good sign, and it only made 132 million.
Okay, so it was probably a very low to very. It was probably very low success. This probably didn't lose money on 100 and something, but
with the people involved and the
It's-
graphics,
it is a big cast. So you
Yeah.
got Reese Witherspoon,
Yep.
Zach Galifianakis, Mindy Kaling, and Oprah.
and you know she doesn't come to the table for anything less than $1 million.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Probably a few. But that said, all of those people did a fine job. Zach Galifianakis for me is really hit or miss. He has roles where I'm like, that's super funny, and then he has roles where I'm like, stop acting and go back to stand up. This was one of those ones. I think he did fine. He did really well. Mindy Kaling is really fun in it. Like, her character, speaking wise, is very minimalistic, and they still find a way to use that really well. Reese Witherspoon plays kind of a bitch, which is nice to see, because she got some bitch face to her, and you're like, you can pull bitch, and she does. She pulls kind of a bitch. And then Oprah is very, like, supportive, I guess. There's not really a whole lot to Oprah's character.
So
And that's how a lot of things in this movie feel, is that's a thing that happened, but there's not really a whole lot to that.
So correct me if I'm wrong. Wrinkle in Time has been done, what, 3 times now?
Oh, this is the first I've ever seen. I was not
No,
aware of other interpretations.
So there was the 2018 one, which was
This one.
this one. There was a 2003 one, which was a Disney one, which I saw.
Oh, I have not seen that.
Yeah, it wasn't great.
Live action or animated?
Live action.
Interesting.
I think that might be 2. There might be one that was done a while back that I'm.
They're not
forgetting.
usually a company to go to the plate twice like that, though.
Well, here's
like, we made this not too long ago. Let's
So-
take a second crack.
here's a couple of the issues that if I recall correctly, why this movie was colored weird. It was painted weird because they tried to make a political statement about it, and whether it is or isn't, because they changed the Meg.
Meg.
And
Which, for the record, the whole movie I just kept going, "Damn it, Meg!" Because
yeah.
she's kind of
Meg and Chris
shitty
Wallace.
hero kinda trope.
They made them like adopted siblings, which
Yeah.
was never a thing. They also changed the race, which not a big deal.
No.
But it was poised to be a huge, hey, look at how diverse our cast is. And even if they weren't outright saying it, people were taking it that way, and there was this whole thing. So they tried to...
I honestly feel like if you want to do the race bending stuff, you do what, and people will probably get mad at me saying this, but Louis C.K. in his show, he cast a black mom for his white daughters. And when people said, like, are the kids supposed to be half black? He just went, no, she was just the best person for the role, so she got the role. Like, just, if you're going to do it, just be like, no, it's a movie. Sorry.
Yeah. I honestly...
Don't try and justify it.
I've read the book series at least 2 to 3 times over.
It's a series? Because I only saw that it was one book.
No, so it's called...
Or maybe there's just one called A Wrinkle in Time.
Yes, there's just... The first
Okay.
one's called The Wrinkle in Time. It's called the Time Quartet or Quintet. I forget if there's 3 or 4. Because, so, Madeline L'Engle, I believe is the author's name. She did kind of a universe building kind of thing where she wrote about 2 or 3 different families that all existed in the same universe, and some of them interconnect, overlap.
Okay. I like that.
One of the families, which is not part of this series, but one of the families is a set of marine biologists. This family, the dad was a theoretical physicist, I think?
He was working with tesseracts and folds in time space.
Yeah, stuff like that. So,
and that was one, I don't know if this is in the book, but this was way too Disney. Is so the whole time the dad is trying to figure out, he believes you can travel tens of thousands of light years in a second without a ship or anything. You just have to find this correct frequency. And then it turns out that the frequency is love.
Oh, of course.
Yeah.
Murder the whole time.
Yeah.
So,
see, that's why everybody was doing it wrong. And I was like, that's a little too, like, 1960s maybe it worked better or something, but that was just,
I don't recall that particular in the book. Here's the really interesting part about the series, though. The series has huge, like biblical undertones and overtones. I forget whichever one. To the point where
tones work.
To the point where the third book is called Many Waters, and it actually takes place sort of during Noah's Ark and all that. There's angels, there's Nephilim, there's things like that.
I suddenly give so many less shits about this series.
You're like, all right, I guess.
No, actually, honest to God, I
see what you did
see what I
there.
did there. No, honestly, she didn't do it in a preachy way. So
I've just already read the Narnia ones, and that was already like, not Jesus, but for real, guys, Jesus.
Yeah,
like,
there's some of that. So there's just to give you a little bit of context, the Many Waters book specifically goes around, is centered around the twins, which I don't know if you see in this movie, but there's there's Meg's younger brothers, not youngest, but because Charles Wallace is the youngest, are twins.
Oh, there's only her and Charles Wallace.
Yeah, see, there's this whole thing. This universe was built really well. Anyways, so what they do is they mess with an experiment that's happening of their dads in the third book, and they get flung into the past, is what it is. And that's how they end up in there, and a number of other things happen. But yeah, no, very much like you can't get away from the religious. And actually, you know what?
What's
I
kind
wouldn't
of funny
say
about
religious. I would say biblical, because I don't necessarily count them the same.
And what's funny is this movie comes off the total opposite. There's not really a higher being. It's the universe at large, and just how grand the universe is. It's ununderstandable. Humans are just kind of down here, and there's other shit that's up here, and nah. So it's very like, it's not like sacrilegious or anything, but it very much just kind of disregards most of religious ideal.
I'm gonna say that that's one of the things I liked about the books, where you can see where the themes were coming from. In each of the 3 different books, the main books at least, because there is a 4th that deals with like the granddaughter, but that's why it's a quartet. Anyways, the main books deal with good and evil, And what I
Yeah,
found
it's got a
interesting,
very light and dark kind of
yeah,
thing.
what I found really interesting is there's a line in the book, in the first book, that talks about how they fight back the darkness, and they talk about there have been many, many good warriors of the light, and you know, one of them just happened to be, and they name drop, I think it was Jesus Christ, but they didn't name drop him to be this big savior thing. He was just
One of the warriors.
one of the warriors of the light. Yeah, one.
I was really hoping you were going to go like left field, like it was really interesting because they named one of the warriors of the light as like Pol Pot, and you're like, oh
No,
Pol
well,
Pot
no, it's
was a good
it's
guy.
interesting.
Oh,
It's
God.
interesting because unlike, you know, how you were saying Narnia, like that shit was in your face. Like you knew
Yeah, no,
Aslan was Jesus Christ. It was complete. It was allegory, but it wasn't like subvertive or anything.
And you know, I'm a big fan of Spite, so I've always wanted to read that. What is it? The Golden Compass series, because
Oh.
that series was written almost entirely as a fuck you to the guy who wrote the Narnia series.
Actually,
Like, it has nothing to do with the fact that he was just like, oh, I'm just gonna do. It has nothing to do with the religion aspect. It has to do with the fact that he was like, see what he did? Fuck that. Try.
actually, it wasn't just against was it C.S. Lewis?
Yeah.
It was also Tolkien.
Oh, good. No, any book that's written on the basis of like, I wrote this because I fucking hate that guy. That's my kind of
Yeah,
book.
yeah, no, because Tolkien was also. I know a lot of people don't like to admit it, but Tolkien was hugely influenced by religion.
And World War II.
Yeah, I was just
yeah.
The whole book is
I
just.
thought it was World War II that he was really more. Or World
No,
War I that
no,
he was
if you
really
if
more
you
like-
look
Is it
at
one?
if you look
Might
at the
have been one
It was
races,
trench warfare.
the
There you go.
races are all based on biblical stuff, to the point where at one point he used to say, and he changed it during his later years when his stuff got more popular, but he used to say that the story of Middle Earth was what actually happened in the past.
Oh, God.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm just going to pull this right back. Wrinkle in Time, the movie. Kid actors actually did really well for kid actors. Guy, boyfriend, male companion character.
Calvin.
Worthless. They even make mention of like, he's here because he's got great mediation skills. And then that never comes up. That never, not even one time is he like, y'all should work this out.
He mediated around it.
Apparently. And like what's funny is they're like there's a point to bring him, but Reese Witherspoon's character keeps complaining there's no point in bringing the main girl, Meg. That's why it's damn it, Meg, because Meg keeps fucking everything up. She does. But they're like, there's no point in bringing her, but let's bring him. And then he proceeds to not do anything, and then she does everything.
Yeah.
And that's
From what
the whole thing.
from what I hear, they really I didn't see it because again I really like the series, and I'm just like, nah.
Yeah. So, and it felt like the kind of thing where you're watching, like, they probably go over a lot more of that in the book. Like, the three godlike entities who are helping them really only help them to a point where they're like, it's really hard if we help from here. We're not into it. Bye.
You know what they were, right? Like what they were supposed to be.
They were Miss What's-It, Miss Witch.
Yeah. But you know what they were, right?
Miss Who?
They were stars. They were the avatars of stars.
What stars?
Stars. You don't.
Just in general?
You-
not like like
specific-
Cassiopeia or She's the Big Dipper, just like
No.
that one?
There's specific stars, but I don't recall which ones. But they were the avatars of them. Again, it's a great series. You should read it. But yeah, no.
I don't know how to read. But yeah, all in all, the book series, the book, the movie wasn't bad. It just wasn't like, it just wasn't good. Like there's nothing to it. It was like John Carter all over again. You take these classic books, and I'm sure that they're fantastic books, but the problem is the ideas from those books have been so done and cannibalized and redone and turned on their ear or done in more interesting or more developed ways. And so this just kind of came off as like, this was any other kid's grand adventure movie. This was Zathura. This was Jumanji. This was... They're kids, and it's like, you can't do this task because you're a kid. Oh, wait, yeah, you can. There you go. And then that was the movie.
Because you were a kid. Oh, man, I had it backwards the whole time.
Right. And it's the power of love in your heart. It was an anime. It's just been done, and I think that's what it suffered from. There was nothing super particularly bad. Like, you know, every movie has little parts that aren't as good or whatever. This was that. I think it just kind of suffered from feeling really generic. And it sucks because you'd like some of these really old books to maybe make a smash hit. But it happened to Ender's Game. It happened to John Carter. It happened to this. These old books just unfortunately have been so cannibalized over time that I think they have a hard time hitting.
I think like with Ender's Game though, it was more that it was rushed. It wasn't so much that it just suffered from like it's been rehashed and done a bunch of stuff. It just
no, sorry. What I was saying, like what I'm feeling is a lot of these older books. What they're doing is they're taking the surface level stuff and that's what they're showing to you on screen. Like the Wrinkle in Time and even John Carter or Ender's Game, they're actually dark. These are dark books. Yeah. Like if they captured the nuance that is these series, I think they do well, but you're just showing the surface stuff and it's already been done.
Right. Yeah, and it's kind of unfortunate. You know, you'd like to see these classics that you've read really like hit, and they just like think of trying to. And apparently, they are doing this though. It's stuck in development hell because it's not working out. But it's like remaking Dracula. How do you do a fresh take on Dracula at this point? It's so hard. I'm not saying it's impossible. I'm not saying there aren't good interpretations or bad ones. It's just it's hard. It's really, really difficult to get right.
You know what you do is
actually they're remaking Nosferatu.
No, that's right. How is that? Anyways,
I mean, Bucktooth Vampire, bro. It's at least gonna be super funny.
I mean, it depends if they make him more because like in that one they actually didn't really talk. Like they didn't show him a lot or anything.
And usually when he does show up, it's just him going like, "That's it."
Yeah, but wasn't Dracula?
Doug Jones is going to be playing Nosferatu in it. So the guy who did Abe Sapien and Hellboy is going to be Nosferatu.
I like Doug Jones.
So that'll be cool. Who's directing?
I think with Nosferatu, if they kept him more like in the shadows as like a kind of creature and like preying on people, and then focusing outside of him and like what's happening, kind of thing, and like
you know
like
what?
From, I'm the detective view or something, right? You know, the constable. Right?
I'm pulling my support right back out, though. The guy who directed it has literally directed one other thing, and he wrote and directed that. And now he's writing and directing this.
What was the other thing?
A thing I've never heard of. It was called The Cabinet of Dr. Caligari. Yeah.
I
don't know. Maybe it'll be a surprise hit, but in the last couple of years, directors who haven't been doing a lot of stuff and are then handed a big task, Rian Johnson, have not pulled those off very well. Also, Rian Johnson. That's what I was saying when I coughed. You fucked up Last Jedi.
Oh, I hate that.
There you go.
Hate that guy. So, I will say though, I like when you take something like Dracula and you throw him into something else, like you create a whole new mythology around him. That's pretty cool. Like, think Castlevania, right?
Yeah, no, and it can work. I think there's ideas, but it's hard. It's not an easy task. Look at Van Helsing. That shit should have been much bigger. It just didn't work.
Actually,
I liked it.
Yeah, I like Van Helsing. I'm curious now. I'm gonna look up the box office mojo for that because I thought it did well.
At least critically, it did not.
Well, but fuck the critics. Most
of the
time.
It was supposed to spawn into a franchise, if I remember right.
No, I thought that wasn't the one that was. It made it budget was 160. It made 300 million.
Worldwide or domestic?
Worldwide. Domestic, it hit 120.
So it didn't make its money back domestic.
Domestic, no, but
that's usually like that'll kill it right there. And what's the hold on, I'm gonna pull up the Rotten Tomato. This is the episode where we just look things up on Rotten Tomato.
It's the library episode where we fact check ourselves.
You know what we're gonna do right now, Klops? I know you had a thing, but what we're gonna do instead, because we didn't do it last week and we're running low on time, is let's get an FML in, and then we'll put a pin in your thing and we'll do it next week.
Yeah, that's fine.
Well, no. I don't want to do
24%
FML.
on Rotten Tomato, 57 audience score.
I don't want to do FML, not because I blew it last week, because I do think there's something that we should talk about and take a moment for that's way more important.
Okay, we'll do that, then we'll do FML.
Okay. So
Because this doesn't need to be very long.
no, but
Stanley
Stanley. Yep.
Jesus, Clumps.
I was gonna say pass, but
Such an
okay.
asshole.
It's not even. That's not even amusing. Like, Marvel comics aren't my main thing. Neither are DC, but I can understand the influence that him and Kirby had on the industry. Like, it's huge. You can't deny it. I did want to do one thing though. Like, for Stan Lee, what was your favorite cameo from Stan Lee from the movies? We'll start with Klops.
I think I really liked him in Thor Ragnarok when he's talking to the Watchers and stuff.
That was a really good one.
Okay. Bonsai?
I can't remember which movie it was, but it was whichever one. He's trying to like get into the nightclub, and they're like, "You're not on the list," and he's like, "Stan Lee, it's on the list," and it's he can't. That was I like it just because like that's one of the few ones where he's not like the janitor or the whatever. He's just Stan Lee being Stan Lee. That's great.
So for me,
Can I change my answer to Mallrats?
So for me, it's the same movie as Klops, but different scene. I like it when he's the guy who's cuts all the dudes' hairs. Remember, they take Thor in, they're gonna cut his hair, and Thor's like, "You will not cut me," and he's like in that like weird, almost Galactus type armor, and he busts out that weapon that has all the choppy bits, and then Thor goes, "Please, sir, don't cut my hair."
He has to bow before Stan Lee.
Yeah, that was my favorite moment.
This is one of those things like the guy's a huge influence. The guy, he's is like the Beatles. Like he had an impact on popular culture in such a way that had he never existed and done what he did, the world would actually probably look a little bit different today because of it.
Agreed.
And that's one guy and a big team eventually. But
well, him and Jack Kirby, I would say probably.
Right. Well, but there's artists and producers.
Oh yeah.
But essentially, it's one guy who really influenced a huge chunk of the world. And 95 years is no short life. It's really unfortunate that he had to spend the last year of his life in a bunch of legal battles. That really sucks.
Yeah.
But largely, he came off as a really nice, really genuine, really sweet guy who liked it. He's not one of these guys who got bitter about being in comics and I go to these conventions and these fucking nerds. He liked
you mean Alan Moore.
Lou Ferrigno.
Oh, that's right.
But he just and maybe he was like that, but he at least kept it to himself. You know what I mean? He came off as a really nice, really genuine dude who just liked that anyone liked the stories that he made as much as they did. Yeah. But 95 years is a long life. This wasn't anything that was like shocking or surprising. And luckily, from the sound of it, it was like peacefully in his sleep. Like it didn't sound like a massive stroke or beaten to death by gangsters or wrecked his Harley or anything like that.
Actually, I feel like I would have loved it if he would have wrecked his Harley.
Yeah, I mean,
but you know what I mean? Like,
out in a blaze of glory.
Yeah,
the guy got to do what he loved for the entirety of his fucking adult life and well beyond when he should have been doing it, and he kept doing it.
Yeah,
have a beer for the guy because he fucking earned it.
Definitely drinks to this man.
Yeah,
good on him. All right, now let's talk about how much I sucked this last week on FML.
Tell everybody why. What'd you do?
I forgot to put my picks up, so it picked some rando shit.
Yeah. Is Klops firmly in second place yet?
Yeah, I'm firmly.
He is.
I think so.
I'm like 1,000 behind you too, Devin.
I don't think I'm coming behind. Well,
maybe.
No.
Well, this week I know I was like 1,000 behind you.
This was almost it was almost a million. Big guy, your numbers suck.
Okay.
Yeah.
Decimal points are a thing.
I forgot zeros.
Yeah, all kinds of them.
But still, a mil behind is not that much.
So let's not talk about my bullshit because that was the thing from before. So your picks, you went all children's movie, and did it pay out? Of course, it paid out.
It paid out for this, but I'm kind of happily surprised. In one of my other leagues, I played very close to the perfect. The perfect was Grinch and then Phil with Overlord. It was actually if you did Bohemian Rhapsody and Phil with Overlord, but I had another one where I did Grinch I don't remember what I did. But either way, Overlord was like the surprise, top movie hit. the Grinch was still going to clench you in and lock you down into a top spot. But I'm glad Overlord's doing well, and now I want to see Overlord.
I want to see Grinch. I haven't.
I want to see both those movies, honestly.
I've never seen the original Grinch. I've never seen it. I saw the Jim Carrey
it's not
one.
Great or anything, but
I saw the Jim Carrey one and I didn't hate it. I'm interested. Okay. We'll see. That brings us to the end of
am I wrong in thinking that this is like super early for a Grinch release though? Or is this not how he steals Christmas? Is that the thing? Because it's not called The Grinch Who Stole Christmas. Is this just a different Grinch story?
I don't know.
I don't know anything about this.
I'm pretty sure. From the trailer, it seemed like he was stealing Christmas.
Why would you not push this a month?
Because I think they felt it wasn't going to be able to compete because it's been done.
What's coming out in Christmas that's going to... I mean, like Aquaman. Did they just not want to go up against Aquaman?
Wait, isn't Fantastic Beasts also coming out in December?
Maybe. Aquaman's the 23rd.
Isn't there also like a Star Wars movie?
No, there was no Star Wars movie this year.
Oh.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Actually, Fantastic Beasts is coming out next week.
Yeah.
What?
I thought it was sooner. Yeah, so like Christmas this year... I don't know why you wouldn't have done this.
Wow, maybe they'll just have it on there for longer. I don't know. Capitalize on breaks. I have no idea why. But that brings us at the end of our episode. We'll see what happens next week when hopefully I actually get off my ass and put it. But I don't know if I'm going to catch up. We only have, 4 weeks left in this season. Yeah, I don't think I'm coming back. Yeah, that feels like it. Other than that, final words, Klops?
Schmookimith.
Cool. Bonsai.
Are we just making up words now?
I did.
Apparently.
Oh, no, if we get to make up words, then I'm going to go with Bromblecrot.
I like it.
Okay. Catch us Tuesday nights on twitch.tv/Metagame Network. We are switching things up a little bit. It won't be multiplayer night coming up. We're actually doing a mostly voice-acted RP campaign with World of Darkness.
We'll see how much of tomorrow's streamed. It might end up being just a hiatus day while we work the back end of things.
It might be. We might stream some of it. We might play games. We'll see. Not sure. But most of the time, catch us there. Check us out on iTunes and 5D Podcasts and YouTube. We actually do these things live Monday nights. And my made of work is Carbooble. Bye.
Yay, bye.
Did you guys see